What is inhumane about ICE deportations? How are they different from Obama's 3 million?
Obama deported a fuck ton of people. But I think where it becomes, in my opinion, a humanitarian crisis is the fact that the conditions of which these people are being held, right? Now, we all know jail is bad, and I'm sure there are some jails that are horrible, right? However, there are certain laws that the United States has to follow when it comes to even jailing, even putting people in jail. ICE centers don't really have to abide by those laws because they're not U.S. citizens. And by definition, they don't have the rights that U.S. citizens do. So chances are that if you're in an ICE detention center, the conditions there are probably absolutely horrific. Borderline a humanitarian crisis.
People has been part of our immigration laws. At the same time, the conditions under which individuals are held and the places to which they are sent are inhumane in some circumstances. For example, sending an individual from Vietnam or Cambodia who cannot be deported to their home country to Sudan, a country in the middle of a civil war.
That's crazy.
That is inhumane because this is done to...
Or El Salvador, to one of the worst prisons ever in the world.
Punish people in ways that a regular deportation, which is terrible for many people, does not do. Obama is known in the Latino community as the deporter-in-chief. He deported more people than Trump could ever hope to deport because he was, first of all, in for 8 years. But they can't deport people very fast because even immigrants are entitled to due process.
Correct.
That means they're entitled to go in front of an immigration judge and present their case for staying in the United States. The Obama administration weaponized the immigration laws by deputizing sheriffs around the United States who detain people for traffic violations. They would detain them, and then Obama's ICE would arrest them. Keeping people in these immigration facilities, which are not prisons, they are worse. These are holding facilities with nothing but 3 crummy meals a day, generally under very terrible conditions. And people who are stuck there for 3, 4, 5 months eventually give up. That's what Obama was successful at, and what Trump is trying to repeat with places like Alligator Alcatraz and Speedway. They're trying to make it so bad for people, they will just give up their due process rights and leave.
I like to tell this to people because I know that like Trump is such a divisive figure and that the current conservative movement and Republican Party is, doing a very good job of slowly dismantling the Constitution. But whenever there was a lot of like fear about immigration just in general, I like to remind people that presidents that have been Democrats have also deported a fuck ton of people and instilled a lot of fear in immigrant communities. So that's not to say that you shouldn't be worried, but I'd like to make it a point that if you are in an immigrant community, especially if you are undocumented, you can have your political ideology and your principles and your morals and your ethics. You can have all of that intact inside you, but it would probably be wise to not link yourself to a political ideology of this country because it really doesn't matter which one of them is in charge. Both of them are going to use the mechanisms of the immigration law and or ICE in general to do what they have to do, especially to win political points over on election years. So just something to think about.
This question from Contempathy 916. Are legal immigrants being deported? Absolutely.
Yes.
Deported. Legal immigrants are individuals who are in the United States on work visas or travel visas after they go through a process. Now, there's different processes depending on where you are. If you show up at an airport and you have a permanent resident or a green card, but you've been gone for a year, these officers will generally threaten individuals and say, you've been gone too long, I'm taking your green card away and sending you away. If you want to fight this, I'm going to keep you in jail. No permanent resident who's legal wants to stay in jail, so they turn around and go away. Or individuals in the United States, legal permanent residents who, it is found found out obtained their residence unlawfully or who commit a crime. They are absolutely being put into deportation proceedings and being deported. Can they ultimately be deported? Federal courts are ruling against the Trump administration on this and saying, look, the First Amendment trumps the immigration laws. Permanent residents have rights, including First Amendment rights in the United States.
Correct.
Question here from Sad Analyst
Bars.
4470. Should someone show up to court and risk deportation? This question really focused on the reports that we're seeing of ICE officers in the hallways of immigration court.
That's so
arresting
crazy.
people after they come out of their immigration court hearing. In 1996, while Bill Clinton was president, he signed a law that said anyone who's in the United States less than 2 years can be deported without a trial. This is called...
What did I tell you? It doesn't matter which political party is involved. If you are an immigrant, you run the risk of the system being weaponized against you at any moment. It does not matter if you just so happen to also believe everything that Democrats believe. It doesn't matter if you just so happen to believe everything that Republicans believe. It doesn't matter.
Extradition removal. These people show up in immigration court because they have a pending asylum case.
Whoa. Relax.
ICE lawyers are telling the judge, we no longer want to pursue this person's deportation. We want to cancel the case. So the person walks out thinking, for some reason, not understanding why, their case is canceled. And then they encounter the ICE officer outside who has their name on a sheet and has their picture and says, oh, we're here to arrest you because your case was terminated, and then haul them downstairs in the building and off to an ICE detention center. If that's going to happen to you, should you show up for your deportation hearing? As a lawyer, I have to tell you, you have to show up for your hearing. But are people not showing up for the hearing? Absolutely. Failures to appear are skyrocketing in immigration courts. Because what's worse, not showing up for your court hearing and getting a deportation order, or showing up to your court hearing and being arrested? This question from Throwaway 102013.
Between a rock and a hard place.
If you're a U.S. citizen and get deported by ICE?
Lawyer the fuck up. Lawyer up immediately. If you are a U.S. if you are a U.S. citizen and you get deported by ICE, bruh, the amount of legal firepower I would be trying to get in my disposal, y'all about to hear about me everywhere. I'm calling every major news organization. I'm calling every journalist. I'll start a whole Instagram. I have 5-6 Instagram page. You about to see the world get tried to burn down. If you're a U.S. citizen and you get deported, my God, in about 5 to 10 years, you might see some good money coming out the U.S. government for you, boy.
One, you should call your family and have them talk to reporters right away.
There you go.
You need to get press on this issue right away. Press solves problems. Has this happened? Absolutely, it's happened. There have been U.S. citizens deported from the United States by accident. What they need to do is go to the U.S. embassy in whatever country they were deported to and say, I'm a U.S. citizen. Here's proof of my U.S. citizenship. If you don't have your passport, which you likely don't, they will give you a travel document to return to the United States. That will not happen overnight. That will likely take weeks, but that absolutely happens today and will continue to happen under the Trump administration. This question from Ask an American. How dangerous is it really crossing the border?
Very dangerous. Crossing the border, I presume that they mean from Mexico to the United States. So dangerous. From U.S. to Canada, not as dangerous. But from Mexico to the United States, so fucking dangerous. And not even because of the environment. Extortion, if you're a woman, even with your kids, you're subject to imprisonment or rape. It's not pretty.
Side of the border in all the cities like El Paso, San Diego, Brownsville, it's very safe. On the Mexican side of the border, that opposite side is dangerous. It is run by gangs. There's extortion. There's rape. People die crossing the border, either because of drowning along the Texas border or die in the desert of thirst, crossing the Arizona and California deserts. I would not recommend it to anybody. It's just very, very dangerous. Question from Yafe Comadre. So if I get deported, what happens to my debt? Nothing happens to your debt. It's still your debt. If you're able to come back
if you get deported and you have a lot of debt, don't ever come back. Don't ever come back because they will remember you, dog. If there's one thing that this country will always be good for is asking you, where's my money that you owe me? Remember that. Okay. That debt will still be there. Likely that debt is tied to a social security number, which you will always have, even if you come back legally 20 years from now. Sorry. This is good. I'm sure they're going to ask about birthrights and shit, but I am killing this immigration reaction video, dude. I'm right there, bro. Shit.
From no egg, no plan, what would revoking birthright citizenship look like?
Told you.
First of all, you could not do it retroactively. What Trump has done is revoke it going forward, saying as of originally February, anybody born in the United States whose parents weren't citizens or permanent residents, even if their parents were legally here, are not citizens of the United States. What would that look like going forward?
Second-class
Creating
citizens.
an entire class of stateless individuals.
Yeah.
Our immigration laws don't let those kids sponsor those parents until those parents are out of the country for 10 years. So the parents aren't getting any benefit out of their kids being born here that is any way immediate, because you can't even sponsor your parents until you're 21. At the same time, what are you going to tell the kid? The kid's not going anywhere. Now they won't have papers. Are you going to make them a resident? Are you going to give them a visa? What are you going to do for those kids? This is a terrible idea, whose time I hope will never come.